Madam Speaker, I rise to disagree with the committee report. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the committee report only serves to expose how disconnected we are from reality. And indeed, it is hypocritical, Madam Speaker, for the report to suggest that it is denying our people the right to make an informed decision because we are apparently protecting them from the COVID-19. Madam Speaker, less than half a kilometer from where we stand, there is a crowd bigger than any rally any of us has ever seen. Down here in Chikobo, Madam Speaker, there's a massive crowd every day. So it is not right, Madam Speaker, for us to claim that we are blocking our people from the information that they need to make a very important decision that they only get a chance to make every 5 years. Madam Speaker, in any case, because we all understand the challenges of the COVID-19, and yes, it was envisioned by our Constitution, Madam Speaker, Article 77, Section 4 of our Constitution provides that in a situation of a state of emergency, the Parliament shall extend by a certain percentage the mandate of the Parliament and the leadership of the country. There, Madam Speaker, it is you that would be guiding the country into the next step. Madam Speaker, everything that is happening in Uganda today is a characteristic of a state of emergency. And we all know, Madam Speaker, that because the sitting president is so drunk on power, for lack of any better word, he cannot allow a state of emergency. So, Madam Speaker, we must not be seen to be so hypocritical to try to gag our people and stop them from connecting from... we should all remember, friends, that a bad election we must all be reminded that here in Uganda, a bad election has cost our country more than 500,000 lives. So, Madam Speaker, anytime now the people of Uganda are going to run out of patience, and we shall have nobody to blame but this Parliament. I thank you.
Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, I thank you very much, Madam Speaker and honorable members. First of all, Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the two honorable members that presented reports, one who presented the majority report, and Honorable Segona, who presented the minority report. I would especially like to thank Honorable Segona for his spirited effort at trying to convince us that subsidiary legislation cannot override the Constitution. Nobody said that subsidiary legislation overrides the Constitution. Absolutely not. We are fully aware that it is the Constitution that is supreme. Honorable Segona. Therefore, Madam Speaker, as I have said, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And of course it must be protected. It must also be defended. And it must be respected. This country, therefore, because the Constitution is the supreme law, this country is compelled to hold these elections: presidential, general parliamentary, and local government elections. And according to the Constitution, this must now be done within the first 30 days of the last 122 days before the expiration of the term of the government. Now, the issue here is, without the political parties conducting their internal elections to elect their flag bearers, the elections cannot be held. In our view, this would create a constitutional vacuum that is likely to create a crisis. Now, we also must address the public expectation. The public expects general elections by the 8th, as has been the case since 1996. This country has consistently held elections, Right Honourable Speaker. We also, Right Honourable Speaker,
Right Honourable Speaker, the public expects rallies. Are we going to give them rallies? The public would expect us to open schools. Are we opening schools? The public would expect us to open churches. Are we opening churches? So if you say you are answering the public, have we answered what the public has asked us to do? We are regulating. Now, if we must regulate, we must look at life first. Unfortunately, there are people who think that some of us don't want elections. No, we are saying what type of elections? What about if you give these political parties I know the minister has had a situation whereby political parties in the past, his party UPC, the former party, would choose candidates. I don't think you want that for our parties, the minister. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, majority of the political parties and stakeholders who appeared were against these regulations. It was only NRM and UPC, the political party of Professor Kamuntu, that supported. And therefore, we really cannot say when the majority stakeholders were against that we sit as parliament and go against the majority stakeholders. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. I support the minority report.
Yes. Members are mistaken. We are saying if we are going to make law for this country, this parliament must do things that within the law. The regulation must be within the law. It was very clear. That is number one. The issue number two, which members are not even understanding, they are giving you a blank check for somebody to write the amount of money the person would want to write in the regulations. Supposing the Central Executive Committee of your party decided that we are going to choose our candidate ourselves, if you are not a favorite member for the Central Executive Committee, you are the victim of this regulation we are talking about here. You are the victim. And I wonder how members would stand up and say, I support members are ready for election. We are not saying there should be no election. But we are saying if we are making regulation, it must be within the law. And secondly, don't give a blank check for somebody to decide for your future. That is the position we are talking about, please. Honorable members, I really support the minority report, and I actually don't see a reason why a member should stand up and say,
to vote, and we are also looking at the right to life. Which one is heavier in this circumstance of COVID-19? Madam Speaker, I want to say that indeed the right to life...
Somebody on the floor. There is somebody on the floor.
The right to life takes precedence. And now, imagine, Madam Speaker, some of us started off as NRM members of parliament. Today we are independent. And by that time there was no COVID-19. But there was a lot of irregularities in the elections. How will it be? Just imagine tomorrow when it is SEC picking candidates, what is going to be the commotion in this house? I am foreseeing most of you members on that side being picked out of the next parliament. Therefore, it's incumbent upon us, Madam Speaker, to uphold what the Constitution tells us. Let us go into the elections as prescribed by the Constitution, as prescribed by the prevailing laws of the country. Yes, information.
Honorable Okumu. Honorable Okumu, please. Honorable Okumu.
Speaker, have you given...
Okumu.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I do not have much to talk. We have heard both the minority and the majority report. But one question I want to pose to you, Madam Speaker. How are we going to handle the issue of illegality? Because voting in this House will not do that. I have seen this House time and again being dragged to court, and certain things are turned down. I do not fear election for one. Even if they say now we go for election, I am ready. But it is not a matter of winning. It is not a matter of going for election just to win. It's a matter of other people in case of any problem. It's also a matter of rights. What if your party decides to call a delegates conference by inviting one person per district and they pronounce themselves over the candidature of every constituency in this county? Because the regulations would have given them that power. How will you stop that? So it is upon all of us, because it will affect us. And Madam Speaker, I want to inform my colleague that you take your example from me. When I'm in this House, they call me an independent member of parliament. Even when parties and independent are inviting people to attend this session, the independent always forget that I am in FDC, and they don't invite me. Just to conclude, Madam Speaker, and this matter is in court. It has taken now 5 years of injustice. The Court of Appeal cannot decide whether Reagan is an MP representing FDC or he is an independent. It is now for 5 years. So why do we wait to go to court when we can decide some of these matters here? I want to appeal to you, honorable members. This is our country. It is not running away. We should have the freedom and opportunity to safeguard, first and foremost, the lives of our people. Let us agree we don't have the capacity other countries have, like those developed countries. We don't have. So I want to appeal that let us not just reject the minority report because it was read by Honorable Segona and opposition. Let us look at the content of that report and argue with our minds, not with emotion. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
This matter we are discussing, I originally expected it to be a matter of the common good because we are talking about public health. I thought we are going to build the consensus as a country. I didn't even expect to have two reports. Already, Right Honorable Speaker, we here have becoming more polarized. Right Honorable Speaker, it is 6 p.m. Right Honorable Speaker, it is 6 p.m. and I believe most members of Parliament would want to contribute and discuss on this subject matter. It will be very unfortunate for us to bypass our party constitutions, like in NRM where I'm supposed to have a conference, I am supposed to have district conference, using regulations which are unconstitutional, leading us to litigation, which we can, as an advocate of national dialogue, we could avoid proactively and preventively. I would
the point of procedure?
My procedure, Madam Speaker, wouldn't it be procedurally right, Madam Speaker, to give us a full day tomorrow to discuss this topic, so that we are not seen to be stampeded to bypass our party constitutions and just circumvent the constitution. Madam Speaker, I plead as an advocate of national dialogue, aware that this 10th Parliament did not implement what you saved in 9th Parliament, the Stephen Tasovia report, where we should have had constitutional review commission by now. Madam Speaker, I plead you give us a full day.
Take your seat, I've heard.